Hey everyone, welcome back to C for Fun. Today we're spreading love and coding a heart pattern. Get ready to see how we can create this adorable design using C programming. Let's dive in and make some digital love. So here on the screen you have a heart and I'm going to be showing you how to print this heart pattern. Notice here we have three triangles, two at the top and an inverted triangle at the bottom. Last thing, notice that we use, instead of using the even number, like not the even number, the incrementing pattern for printing the triangle, we instead use the odd number pattern in this case. So, the apices of the first two triangles have the same number of stars, in this case 5 and 5. And remember, the triangle size is the number of rows. So the size of the heart is 10. We have the first part of the heart, which is this part, which is the size of the heart divided by 3, or 1/3 the size of the heart. Since the size of the heart is 10, we have 10 divided by 3, which is 3.333, giving us a size of 3 since we're using integers. The second part is the inverted triangle, which has the actual size of the heart, which is 10. Now looking at the apices of the first two triangles, they start from 5, and we know that printing the odd number patterns, the third row consists of 5 stars, which means we are going to add 3 to the odd number printing formula to get our printing stars from the 5th star upward. Now leading spaces, we have leading spaces. The first leading space in red, the second in blue, the third in green. Notice this leading space here. This is just a simple space that we're going to print. This one, notice this yellow green space here. So this is the last leading spaces. These spaces are in purple. We don't really need to worry about these spaces because after inverting the triangle, the spaces will also automatically reverse. So the structure of our program, we need the first loop to print rows for the first two triangles. Inside this loop, we have a loop to print the red leading spaces, a loop to print the first triangle stars, a loop to print the blue leading spaces. We need one space for the yellow space. We need a loop for the leading spaces in green. We need a loop for the second triangle stars. And finally, we need the next line. And then we need another loop which will print the reverse triangle. This loop will have a loop inside which will print leading spaces, these leading spaces in purple. We need a loop to print the stars for the reverse triangle. And finally, we need a red line. So let's get into the code. Let's use the structure. So here, we're just going to initialize the size to 10. In this case, we're going to have our loop variables I, j, and space. So here, we'll begin with the first loop. And remember, we said calculating the sizes. Yeah, calculating the sizes, we said the size of these first two triangles is going to be the size of the heart divided by 3. So in this case, we'll have y equals 1 to I equals to our size of our first two triangles, that is n divided by 3, increment I. Inside this loop, so we'll have you look for the red leading spaces. So for space equals to 1 until space reaches our n, which I said is always the max number of spaces or the size of the triangle, which is n divided by 3 minus our looping variable I. Increment space, and then we'll print our space. So the next loop will be for the first triangle stars. So here we'll have j as our looping variable for the stars. So for j equals to 1 to j equals to 2 times I. Remember, this is the formula for the odd number pattern. But here, when I was explaining, I said we observe, looking at the apices of the first two triangles, they start from 5 stars. So analyzing, we're going to increment the stars by 3 to get the odd number pattern. Since here we're beginning with 5, so we're going to increment 5. Since at this level I is equals to 1, since it's the first row, so we'll get 2 times I, giving us 2. And then adding 3 to 2, we're going to have 5. And then during the next iteration, when I is equals to 2, we're going to have 2 times 2, which gives us 4. Adding 3 to that give us 7, and so on and so forth. So we're just going to add 3 here and then increment our G, printing our star. Notice I did not place any space here since we are using our odd number pattern for printing stars. Now, going back to our structure, we'll need to look for the blue leading spaces. So the blue leading spaces is just the same thing with these leading spaces. So I'm just going to copy and paste this down here. So we'll have these blue leading spaces here since it's the same. And then we need our green leading spaces, which is still the same thing. So I'll just paste it again down. And now we are going to print our yellow space. Oh, forgot the yellow space. Since this yellow space is in between this blue and the green space, all I need to do is to just come and print an empty space here, no loop, nothing. So let me just comment this so that you see. So these are the red spaces. Here we have our first triangle stars. Here we have the blue leading spaces. And here we have our green leading spaces. So that's it. Now we're going to print the stars for the next triangle. So printing the stars for the next triangle, since it's the same triangle, we're still going to use this very code here. So I'll just copy and paste down below. Here we'll get our code. But here is the second triangle stars. And the last thing we need is the next line. So I'm going to run this so that you see what we get for this first section. So guys, this is the top of the heart. Two triangles having these leading spaces and separated by this one space I'll call the yellow space. So let's get to the second part. The second part now will be printing the inverted triangle. So to print the inverted triangle, all I'll need to do is to just reverse the I loop. We'll just reverse this I loop. So instead of beginning from top to bottom, we're going to begin from the bottom to the top. So here we have for I equals to the size. Remember, the size of the second triangle now is the size of the heart itself, n. So beginning from n, as I begins from n, we would like I to reach 1 and then decrement I. In this case, we are just going to print our leading spaces the same as before. So 1 for space equals to 1, space should be less than equals to, we'll take our size n minus the looping variable I, increment our space, and then we'll print our space there. Now we print our stars. So you have for j equals to 1, so long as j is less than equals to 2 times I minus 1. In this case, we're using 2 times I minus 1 because it's our original formula for printing a triangle. So what we're doing here is just printing a triangle in the reverse form. So everything remains the same except the fact that we reverse the loop that prints the rows, and that is the I loop. So increment j, and we'll print our star. And then the last thing we need from our structure is the next line. Now let's run this and we'll have a look at our beautiful heart printed. So guys, this is our beautiful heart that has been printed. The triangle is in the reverse form, the leading spaces are printed, everything looks good. So that's just basically how to print a heart pattern in C. Thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe. Send your comments in the comment section. I'll be waiting for you. I'll try to make future videos where we are going to place a name at the center of the heart. So before that, just subscribe, like, and share so that others can have this content. See you in the next video.